Hey, y'all, did y'all miss us? Because we sure missed you. Look, watch, like, and subscribe to our channel at Sister Sis 1988, as well as follow us on all our social media platforms at Sister Sis 1988. Before we get grooved into the show, I'm Jamie.
I'm Latoya.
And I'm Calandra.
And today we are bringing in a wonderful guest out of California. And I am going to allow him to give us a brief summary of who he is. And then we're going to dive into the questions for today. We have a great show. Go ahead.
I'm Dr. Yates. It's a pleasure to be with y'all here today. Just grew up in California, became a chiropractor back in 2007. And I'm currently starting a podcast and writing a book. So I'm excited to talk about some of my experiences.
All right. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thanks for joining us today.
Great to be
All
here.
right. So, Dr. Yates, what made you become a doctor?
So when I was 19, back in 1988, I served a mission for my church down in Costa Rica, Central America. And it was a life-changing experience. Really, I had never been in a third world country. I had never been outside of the United States. Had just graduated from high school, finished my freshman year in college. And it was an experience that changed my life. Just being in Costa Rica and getting to love the people there. And I loved what I did. I was teaching the gospel of Jesus Christ for 2 years straight, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, completely voluntary, not making any money, not being able to date or, go to school or anything. And that really was the platform, the foundation for me wanting to help people, wanting to do everything I could to ease human suffering. And I do that every day here in Bakersfield in a great multidisciplinary clinic. I see anywhere from 30 to 50 patients a day, and love it. It's my passion, helping people.
Awesome. So, you're a chiropractor. Can you tell us more about your specialty?
I sure can. Yeah. I always knew going into healthcare that I wanted to be a specialist. I never wanted to be a general practitioner. And I chose chiropractic because I was in a snowboarding accident back in 1996, where I went off this jump and landed right on my tush. And the next day I was not a happy camper. I had a lot of low back pain. And my roommate at the time was like, you should go to this chiropractor. He's right here in North Hollywood. So I went through the whole process, loved it. I mean, I really, enjoyed the interaction with the doctor. I enjoyed the treatment, and it left me with a good memory. And so later on, when at the time I was teaching high school Spanish, and teaching is my first love. And so I wanted, when I decided to become a chiropractor, I wanted to do a specialty in which I could not only help people with chronic illness, because most people when they think of chiropractic, they think of, pain, headaches, acute pain. I didn't want to go that route. I wanted to help people with the most chronic illnesses, and that's what I do, doing the specialty that I do. And it's a specialty based on the developer of chiropractic, BJ Palmer. It's called Blair Upper Cervical. And William Blair is the doctor that invented this technique. And I don't know if you're aware of this or if your listeners are aware of this, but there's dozens and dozens of different techniques in chiropractic. I mean, you could go to 10 different chiropractors here in Bakersfield and have 7 different things done to you and be like, well, what is chiropractic? Type of thing. This is based on the original, chiropractic technique, hole in one. If anybody's plays golf, We focus on the very top of the neck, the atlas axis. And the reason being is that that's the most important area physiologically of the body. Your brainstem is protected by the top two bones in your neck. And if those are misaligned, then you're going to have global problems, not just back pain or headaches, but every system in your body is affected when that's out of alignment. And I get people's heads on straight every day by adjusting that area very specifically, and miracles happen. And I love it. I love what I do.
I always been scared to do it, like a little back cracking and all of that. That's always been scary to me.
Yeah, no, and if anybody's watched TikTok, they're probably scared away, by chiropractic, because but see, that isn't chiropractic. Chiropractic was never meant to be like a party trick, like, here, let me yank you or crack you, or the technique I do is very, very gentle and specific and non-invasive. There's no twisting, turning, cracking, or popping of the neck or head. Okay. You literally lay on your side, either right or left side, in the fetal position. Most people sleep, on their sides. So think of yourself being asleep on your side, and me just contacting the bone and just very gently toggling it. And it's amazing what happens after that adjustment, but it's the safest thing in all of healthcare. There's nothing safer than this.
Okay.
So what does health mean to you, and how has your definition evolved over time?
So, I grew up, my mom was a physician assistant before she started having children. So I grew up in conventional medicine. Like, I didn't know like anything about alternative medicine. My parents weren't that. They were just like medical doctor, all of that. My sisters did go, they worked at one of the best chiropractors in Burbank, where I grew up, Burbank, California. They all were, working in the office, but I never went. I was always busy playing sports or, taking piano lessons. I mean, I was very, very active as a teenager in my church. I loved to go dancing. We would have dances every month in my church organization. And so when it came to health, I was very blessed. I didn't have like any health issues growing up. Like I said, it wasn't until I had that snowboarding accident that I went to chiropractic, got a feel for it. And then when I started studying it, and then getting my doctorate in it, I learned that there's a whole different philosophy from allopathic. You got the allopathic philosophy, which most people are familiar with, where if something's wrong with you health wise, you either add something to the body or take something away. Okay. In the sense of, here, take this medication. Okay. Or we're going to do a surgery and we're going to, put this disc in your back or something, in the surgery, or we're going to take it away. We're going to cut something out of you, like your gallbladder or something like that. That's the allopathic philosophy of health. The vitalistic philosophy of health is chiropractic. Chiropractic is what started the whole alternative medicine, that we see today. And so if something's wrong, okay, it's usually a communication issue in the body. Our brains are always sending messages to the rest of our cells, and our cells are sending messages back. And this conduit of information travels through the peripheral and central nervous system, which is your brain, brainstem, and spinal cord. And that spinal cord is protected by 24 vertebrae. Okay. And the thing with these vertebrae is that that's your frame, that's your skeleton. They're movable. Okay. That's how human beings move, but with that movement comes misalignments to those bones. And when they misalign, they can interfere with those messages that go from the brain to the cell and from the cell back to the brain. And you guys know as well as I do, when it comes to relationships, if there's poor communication, what happens to the relationship?
Falls apart.
Falls
Yep.
apart. Same with our bodies. If there's poor communication or distortion of messages and misunderstandings in the body falls apart and doesn't have health. Okay. But if you can have good communication in your body by making sure everything's aligned and there's no interference to these messages that are constantly traveling from the brain to the rest of our cells and back, then that's where you're going to have health. And so I learned about health when I got my degree in chiropractic and learned about this philosophy and learned that it's all about homeostasis. Whenever there's a disease or somebody's sick, their body is out of balance. Either there's too much of a hormone or too less of a hormone or too much bacteria or, not enough bacteria. A virus throws things out of balance. If you want to talk about viruses, then the body has to work overtime and it's not in homeostasis. So that's the definition of health, is homeostasis.
Right.
Okay.
When do you think it's important for, or what are some signs that one should look out for when they should actually seek out to see a chiropractor?
So obviously I'm going to recommend that you go to some like a specialist like me when it comes to chiropractic. The problem is that we're in the minority. Okay. I work in the clinic here in Bakersfield with another chiropractor.
Mhm.
He is older than me. He does his own technique that he invented, and he does great work, right? It really depends on what your objective is in going to the chiropractor. Like, if you just want temporary relief, for, pain that you're dealing with, then really you could go to any chiropractor because chiropractic adjustments relieve pain. Okay. But I didn't want to practice like that. So it really depends on what your health issue is. If you're dealing with a chronic issue, then you're definitely going to want to go to an upper cervical specific chiropractor.
Okay.
Okay. So tell us about Lifewave and their products.
So Lifewave is a global wellness technology company that I came across through LinkedIn. Early last year, I was introduced to the company. I knew nothing about the company. I mean, I had heard about it through the grapevine because, like, when you're a chiropractor, you're introduced to every product out there when it comes to wellness. I mean, that's the first place that supplement companies, they're always gonna go to a chiropractor. So I had heard about the company, but as you guys know, timing is everything in life. When I originally was introduced to Lifewave, it was just bad timing in my life. I probably was going through a divorce, back then or something, and my mind was on other things. But at the beginning of last year, I was unemployed when I started 2024. I had been wrongfully terminated from a position with an upper cervical specific chiropractor in Seattle, Washington. And I didn't know what I was going to do in 2024. And this guy reached out to me on LinkedIn and introduced me to the company. And I took a look at it. I did research. I started using the technology on my body. And I was blown away. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I just told him, I said, we got to take this to the world. And because that's the type of person I am. When I find something that works, that is beneficial to humankind, I share it with everybody. And that's what I'm doing with Lifewave.
Okay, great. So the phototherapy, tell us about that and its benefits.
So phototherapy basically it's like light therapy, but it's different. Like there's a lot of different types of phototherapy. This particular type is it's what you do. It's a little round patch that looks like a Band-Aid. You know, those little round Band-Aids that you used to get in that assortment package of Band-Aids. It's about that size.
Okay.
You put it on your skin and it's amazing. Our bodies are constantly emitting infrared light. You know, this is scientifically proven. Everybody knows this that has looked into, light therapy. And so what it does is it redirects the infrared light that our body is constantly emitting back into our skin and nervous system. And then the nervous system, like I said, that's health, that's running the show, our brain, our central nervous system elevates or diminishes certain hormones or particles in the body, amino acids, peptides, hormones, whatever the body is lacking, it will elevate. And the technology, because we have like a number of different patches, okay, and they all do different things, okay. The one that I'm most excited about is a patch called X39. What it does is it elevates GHK copper peptide in the body, which activates dormant stem cells. And if you know anything about stem cells can replicate any cell type in the body. So let me just tell you what happened to me. This might get you excited about this product because when I started using this product, I was optimally healthy. Like I had no health issues at all. I had no pain. Everything was functioning the way it should. And I was just, I was like, hey, if this product does what it says it does, I need to try it out for myself.
Mhm.
And so the first time I put this on my body, I felt like I had received an upper cervical adjustment, like the ones that I give and have been giving for the last 20 years. I mean, and this is a sensation that I can only describe like this. Your whole body feels warm and tingly, like you're healing. Like all of a sudden your body has started healing at a higher level than prior to getting the adjustment, or in this case, putting this patch on your body. Now that really took me back because I'm like, I'm not a big product guy. I never have been a product like guy as a chiropractor. I've never like sold any products to my patients or anything. I just wanted them to experience my service because I knew that in time it would heal them. But with this product, I put it on my body and I get this sensation. I'm like, that's crazy because I just put it on my body. Like it started working immediately. And I felt like I had received this adjustment. And I'd only had that feeling maybe 10 times in the last 20 years because I've only been adjusted, had my atlas adjusted maybe 10 times in the last 20 years. And that's another difference about the technique that I do is that you're not getting adjusted as many times as you would if you went to a general chiropractor. You're getting adjusted once, it's done correctly, you hold the correction, and that's what brings the healing. And so that's what I felt. And then 3 days later, I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, there's like wrinkles going away on my face. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. How is this reducing wrinkles on my face,
Sold
right?
me on it. That's what sold me on it when I went to the
Yeah,
web.
no, I knew it was gonna sell you. I knew it was gonna sell you, Latoya. And it's an amazing anti-aging product that I had no clue about prior to January of last year. Now, it increased my energy, it increased my mental clarity, it increased my metabolism. And all those were at optimal levels prior to using this patch. And so it took me where I was health wise and took me to another level, which I really didn't think a product could do that. And that's what this X39 patch has done. And so I've been sharing it with everybody that's willing to listen.
Man, okay, it's taking away wrinkles, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, listen, they may be blowing you up, okay? That's what it is.
The world needs to know about what's out there. I mean, this
Right.
product came out in
Right,
this came
right.
out in 2019,
Yeah,
right before the pandemic. And so you guys know when the pandemic hit, our minds were all on the pandemic. But now
yeah,
that the pandemic's over, I mean, we're gonna, this company is gonna do $1 billion in the next 3 to 5 years. And there's a business opportunity tied to it for those that want to share this product with others. It works synergistically with it resonates with me perfectly because it is chiropractic philosophy in a nutshell. You put this patch on your body and it brings your body into homeostasis, just like a chiropractic adjustment done right brings your body into homeostasis. So I've never found anything that resonates with my philosophy of health like Lifewave and this product.
okay. Well, we're gonna cut it right there, Dr. Yates, so we can come back with some more good information from you. So
Until next time.
there is strength in sisterhood.
And supporting sisterhood.
Bye.
Bye.